relationship with Los Angeles. People tend to make the mistake of moving here thinking the world just fall into their lap. But this city makes you work for it. Your delusions will melt in the glamorous grit because it takes a workhorse to survive here. If you can get through the loneliness, you'll find opportunities. So as you push through that traffic on the verge of losing your sanity, you meet like-minded beings looking to create. This is what this city is all about.
My verses, gas, I'm on it, spaz.
Now, I can't think of a better tool to capture the vastness of Los Angeles than with this new Hasselblad X2D II. The body's machined from a single block of metal, and now with continuous LiDAR autofocus, it can keep up with the fast-paced city. Stars in the sky, not the stars in the city. But nothing's perfect. And while this camera comes close, it has two major flaws. But first, let's just stick to the script.
You know, just like Los Angeles, I feel like a lot of people might have mixed feelings about this system. To the naked eye, some might assume it's not a huge upgrade to the X2D, the original one. I will say this is a refinement on the original X2D. And on top of that, they lowered the price. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they did. And that's good for all of us. Currently live about 70 miles east of there, but for some reason I just keep coming back to it, and there's just some charm to it that's unexplainable, even though that charm comes with things that maybe aren't as realistic as other places could be. It's a similar feeling with this Hasselblad system because this is a true photographer's system. This camera's made for the photographer who doesn't need all the video stuff and just is looking for a true photography experience. Now, I know a lot of you guys are gonna be wondering what the difference is between the Hasselblad XD2 II and the original XD2. Cosmetically, you guys can see the obvious difference. The original XD2 is black with white lettering. The new one, beautiful, modern, but rugged looking stealth gray with black lettering. It has like this weird, I don't know what this texture is supposed to be, but in hand, it actually feels really amazing. You can see this is where our little LiDAR window's at. So on camera, you can see the little beams of LiDAR spitting out of there. It just looks like the regular autofocus that Hasselblad has always had. Obviously with continuous autofocus now, that's kind of the main thing. This finally allows me to start using it for fashion shoots specifically, which is incredibly fun because, you know, if you have a commercial shoot or anything like that, having 100 megapixels, brands absolutely love it because they're able to crop it like crazy. And say if you need to like do a bunch of crazy editing to clean up your image, having 100 megapixels is just going to make that even easier on you. It's going to make it a little bit harder on your system, which is what we'll kind of lead into next after we talk about autofocus. But immediately after I started using it, I was shocked. Even like my Lumix S1 or 2 and S1 II that I'm filming on right now, even those cameras, for some reason, the object tracking just falls apart. You put the little tracking box on it and it just floats away. With this camera, it is sticky. Whether it's a human and doing eye detection, if it's my dog. Obviously, I have a big light right here, I have a red light right there, and from the back of the screen, it's pulling focus on her face just fine. I have back button focus on, and you can see it's tracking her eye. It's tracking her body now. So I would say the continuous autofocus is great on here. Obviously I have this big light on, so I'm just gonna kill this light. So now we just have that red light on her, and you guys could probably barely see it from here, and it's still focusing on her eye there. Now it's getting all of her. That's like the object tracking, but as she gets closer, you see it's still tracking her. That's very impressive. This autofocus is crazy sticky. Now, I'm not exactly sure if the LiDAR kicks in specifically for low light usage or if it also works in daytime, but I would easily use this in a professional manner. I'm very confident in it, and I'm shocked to say that because I haven't used a medium format camera where I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this works. This just works. From there, if you look at the back of the camera, you can see the new XD2 version 2 has extra buttons on the back. Now, I never thought that it really needed extra buttons, but in use, having a joystick, this actually helps a lot because now that we have continuous autofocus, you know, you're gonna wanna move that tracking box around. Obviously, you can tap and you can move it around. On top of that too, our dials can now be used as custom buttons as well. So my rear dial, if I click it in like a button, it zooms in. So if I need to pull manual focus. And then my front button right here goes through my crop modes. You know, I selected my most used crop mode so I could just cycle through those quickly and then go right back to a no crop mode. And then for the last big change, on the original X2D, the rear screen could go all the way up like this, and then that's it. It doesn't fold down at all. On the new guy though, we can go all the way up and it goes up even more, or you can go down just a little bit. You can't go fully down, but also it does pivot all the way up like this too.
This town's not for the weak. You gotta have thick skin to last here. And there's two types of people who come here. One type walks into a room and expects people to worship them for no reason. The second type walks in that same room and stays away from the first type. Now, I prefer to be behind the camera, but I learned in order to survive with the angels, you gotta let your work do the talking.
Let's talk a little bit about this lens. This is the Hasselblad 35 to 100 millimeter f2.8 to f4. This is part of their E series lenses. This is the top of the line of lenses for them. I think in full frame terms, this is like a 28 f2.2 to like 75 or 85 millimeter f3. This lens is incredible. The image quality is just stunning on it. I do wish there's a little bit more character to it. On my Hasselblad 55V, there's actually some charm. There's some scrolliness into the bokeh, even though it's still incredibly sharp and clean and contrasty still. It is a 86 millimeter filter thread. Now I know brands like Polar Pro, again, who make the short stash filter, I know they offer 86 millimeter size filters now. So, you know, I actually might get a 86 millimeter short stash filter to put on this lens. Whether you're at 35 or 100 millimeters, this lens has been incredibly clean. So, you know, for more commercial work, I think this is going to be a workhorse. And again, on the character side, it left a little bit more to be desired. But some last things I need to mention, we now have 10 stops of IBIS, which is like insane. They're really pushing this whole HDR and camera stuff. Personally for me, I don't care about HDR at all, really. Your screens have to be HDR screens. So I just don't think the world is there or ready for HDR usage yet. But if you invest in this camera and you're really into HDR stuff, you know, you're going to be set for the future with this. With the whole HDR stuff, you know, that's why they also upgraded the screen on this camera as well, because now it can actually handle HDR images. You know, it does everything in camera. And then if you transfer it to their app or to their software, it's going to support all the HDR stuff. If that's someone that tickles your fancy, you're going to get it all in camera now. Personally, for me, I like just shooting in RAW because I need to be able to edit my images so I can, you know, share to social media or send to clients and yada, yada, yada. So HDR workflow for me currently isn't realistic yet. Now let's talk about two pretty major personal issues I have with the current Hasselblad system. When you invest into a camera like this, if you're a professional, obviously, you know, you're going to get your bang for your buck out of this, especially since they're lowering the price to $7,500, I think, which is wild. If you're a hobbyist or somebody that just wants to be inspired by your gear or whoever you are, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. These two things I think would really help, and they could be fixed. The first thing, there's no compression ratios on this. So you're shooting 100 megapixels full quality. The file sizes are like 200 megabytes. That's fine, right? Because you're investing in this money. You should be able to afford hard drives if you can afford this camera. But there's a lot of situations where I don't need that full file size. There's no compression ratios. There's no lossless compression. There's no workaround to kind of try to get smaller file sizes out of there. If they were to do that, I would, again, just take this out. Even if I'm just going to go on a hike or something like that, I would gladly take this out just to shoot some photography that I'm just gonna keep to myself. But the fact that you have to shoot the full image quality, again, that's what this camera is made for. I pretty much only use it for higher stakes jobs where I know I'm gonna need a lot of megapixels. or for special circumstances, or for my X-Pan photography. So again, all that's very important, but I wish I could use it even more. And it's just, you got to pick and choose your situations if you want to blow up your hard drive just to shoot with this camera. That leads me into my second big issue. Capture One does not support the Hasselblad cameras. I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if it's Capture One's fault or if it's Hasselblad's fault. Hasselblad does have their focus software. The phone app and the iPad app is amazing to use. The desktop app, I don't like it personally. It's overly complicated. So all the files I had to edit in Lightroom, and I use my Roadrunner Lightroom presets, which is fine. But Capture One, to me, when I'm doing my fashion work and my X-Pan work, my more serious work, I love using Capture One. But those are my two big gripes with this camera. With all that said, obviously, this is still such a crazy, inspiring workhorse of a camera. Like, this is some of the best image quality that you can get in this day and time and era right now. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, like, what the hell does this have to do with Los Angeles? I think this camera kind of really runs in parallels with my love-hate relationship with Los Angeles. I absolutely love this camera. It's incredibly inspiring, and the new version 2 with the continuous autofocus, 10 stops of IBIS and the LiDAR, it's now ready to just do anything and everything that you need it to. And just like Los Angeles, there's things to love about it and there's things to hate about it, but for some reason I keep going back to it. And that's the same way that I feel about this new X2D II version 2. Now the question is, will I go back to Los Angeles? The world may never know.